I will say that never has there been a president, with few exceptions, in the case of FDR, he had a major depression to handle, who's passed more legislation, who's done more things than what we've done. If we had the greatest bill in the history of the world on health care, we wouldn't get one vote from the Democrats because they're obstructionists. That's what they want to do. That's the game. They think that's their best political game. They're obstructionists, and that's sad.
All right, that was the president earlier today during his first full cabinet meeting, talking about his agenda, calling out the Democrats for being the obstructionists they are. Joining us now with reaction is, yes, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, our friend Dr. Ben Carson. And by the way, he's in New York today to kick off an academic forum on the state of home ownership in America. By the way, a 51-year low, which bothers me.
Well, it is bothersome because home ownership is the basis for wealth creation in this country. The average net worth of a homeowner is $200,000. The average net worth of a renter is $5,000. So we've got some definite work we need to do there.
You know what frustrates me is all these attacks against the president. It stops him from the agenda he ran on. Get people off of food stamps, out of poverty, back in the labor force, 51-year low home ownership rate. It drives me nuts. What do you make of all these attacks against him?
Well, you know, that's what we were talking about in the cabinet meeting today, the labor force, and creating the atmosphere where we can get a lot more people working, because I think that then solves a lot of the problems. People don't like change. You know, they like the comfort zone in which they sit, and when somebody starts talking about changing it, they become very anxious. I understand that. And so I expect that there will be people who are anxious about some of the things that I say, but they won't be anxious once they see the results.
They want to attack you anyway. You know, you've been attacked since you got out. I'm like, why did you give up being a brain surgeon? And I know you've done a good job. Knowing you as well as I do, you're going to think out of the box.
Absolutely.
This is going to be different. Whatever you do, I expect something very innovative. What are you thinking about? Give us a little glimpse into your thought process.
Well, just for one small thing, the centers where we can give people a vision, we call them vision centers or opportunity centers, they will be privately sponsored, but they will be put into the areas of low income. And, you know, most of the kids there, you say, what do you want to do? And you get about 5 or 10 things. There's 1,000 things. This will show them what the other 990 things are.
I was at the original housing project in Atlanta when I was a local host there, Techwood Homes. I'm sure you're aware of it. I went to one of the worst, most horrific stories I ever covered in my life at a housing project, and I went there. Kid died, a cockroach lodged in this kid's brain. I walked into one of the homes. Infested isn't even describe how horrific it is.
Look, I remember as a child, you walk into a room and you turn the lights on, there'd be so many roaches scurrying, it would look like an earthquake. Like the walls were actually
horrible.
moving.
I know.
Yeah, but you know, we're working on those things. We have new programs with our inspectors to make sure that people are getting the right kind of inspection and that the managers are doing the right thing.
And if people need help, I'm a Christian. I believe we have a role. But I like the idea of them owning the place.
Well, that's the real ideal. The real ideal is to get people to move up the ladder of opportunity, not to be complacent. We're going to help people. We're not just going to say, you got to do it. Yeah. You know, you got to pull up yourself by your bootstraps. We're going to help people do this, but we're going to give them a vision. Absolutely. And that's going to help us as a nation to strengthen us.
You're a good man. I wish you all the best in what you're doing. You got to come see us. He doesn't even take my calls anymore. He becomes a HUD secretary. That's it. Hannity's out.
Talk to my people.
When we come back.